Welcome, Swagatham, Namaskaram. In this video, I would like to examine a certain form of parasitism that thrives in the sphere of religion. This kind of parasites are extremely popular. They are respected, they are rewarded, they are considered to be people of immense value precisely because people have very little spiritual discernment or even self respect. In order to understand this form of religious parasitism, it is helpful to start with an example. So I'm going to play for about maybe 7 or 8 minutes. Please have the patience to listen to the soundtrack of a video in which one Christian priest in Pakistan, his name is Pastor Johnson, I think, Pastor James John or something. Pastor John, his name is Pastor John, is trying to persuade the famous Dr. Zakir Naik to enter into an apologetic wrestling with him. Apologetics is that branch of theology in which people try to defend their religion against the enemies of the religion. And Zakir Naik is the foremost figure in the Islamic world, at least he thinks so. He's immensely popular in Pakistan. He used to be based in India, but because of his extreme views, he has been barred from India. He is now based in Malaysia. So before I say anything further, I think it is necessary to listen to the audio, and after that I'll take over.
सैमसन जॉन है और मेरा ताल्लुक सीडीए से है, क्रिश्चियन डिबेट एकेडमी से, और मैं क्रिश्चियन अपोलॉजिस्ट भी हूँ। और आपने गुज़श्ता रोज़ कराची में पूरी मसीहियत जो पाकिस्तानी मसीहियत है उनको मनाजरे का चैलेंज किया था। तो मेरी तरफ से और हमारी टीम की तरफ से आपके चैलेंज को हमने कबूल किया है और हम 20,000 बंदों को पेश कर सकते हैं, तैयार कर सकते हैं, वो इस मनाजरे में प्रेजेंट होंगे। और इसके अलावा
For the sake of those who do not understand Urdu, what he's saying is that he represents an organization in Pakistan called Christian Debate Academy. And on behalf of the Christian Debate Academy, he is happy to accept a challenge thrown by Dr. Zakir Naik to undertake a debate between Christians and Muslims. And in order to prove his credentials, I have to say with great reluctance, this stupid padri, he says that he is capable of bringing together 30,000 Christians to support him, so that his credentials to debate debate against Dr. Zakir Naik is well established. So that's what he has said so far.
आपने कहा था कि बाइबल मुकद्दस में कोई एक आयत जो इस बात पर दलालत करती हो कि हजरत मसीह ने कहा हो कि मैं खुदा हूँ। गॉस्पेल ऑफ जॉन चैप्टर नंबर 13 वर्स नंबर 13 उसमें लिखा है कि तुम मुझे उस्ताद और खुदावंद कहते हो और खूब कहते हो क्योंकि मैं हूँ। जब आप बाइबल मुकद्दस पर गौर करते हैं तो लाजिम है कि आपको बिब्लिकल लैंग्वेजेस का पता होना चाहिए। यहाँ पे जो खुदावंद के लिए लफ्ज इस्तेमाल किया गया है।
Now the point of debate, what is sought to be debated is, Zakir Naik said that there is not a single verse in the Bible where Jesus is seen to be claiming to be God. As against this, Pastor John presents two biblical evidence. One is from the 13th chapter of John's Gospel, verse 13, and the other is verse 3 of the 21st chapter of Matthew's Gospel, The second instance is Matthew chapter 21, verse 3, is highly dubious. But that's not our main subject, so I'm not going to comment on the merit of this evidence. But Pastor John has no clue as to what kind of a person Zakir Naik is, and you will soon see him getting into serious trouble.
वो कुरियोस है, और कुरियोस जो के साथ जब भी आर्टिकल का इस्तेमाल किया जाता है तो ये खुदा के मायने देता है। तो मसीह जब अपने बारे में गॉस्पेल ऑफ जॉन में ये बात करते हैं तो वो खुदा होने की तरफ इशारा कर रहे हैं कि मैं खुदा हूँ। इसके अलावा गॉस्पेल ऑफ मैथ्यू चैप्टर नंबर 21 और उसकी आयत नंबर 3, उसमें लिखा है कि अगर कोई तुमसे पूछे कि तुम ये क्यों करते हो तो तुम उनसे कहना कि खुदावन को इसकी जरूरत है। तो यहाँ पर भी यीशु जो है अपने आप को कुरियोस आर्टिकल के साथ खुदा कह रहे हैं। तो इसके अलावा आप गॉस्पेल ऑफ जॉन चैप्टर नंबर
Now it will begin. Now it will begin.
एक सवाल पूछना चाहिए, एक सवाल एक टाइम पे, समझे ना? पहला आपका सवाल कि
Now you are
आप
listening to
मेरे
Zakir.
चैलेंज को एक्सेप्ट करते। शायद आपने मेरी तकरीर नहीं पढ़ी
जी,
या मेरी तकरीर सुनी नहीं। चैलेंज करने को मैं जब चैलेंज करता हूँ अलग बात है। आपने सवाल किया, सवाल का जवाब दूंगा। अगर आप डिबेट करना चाहते, मेरे डिबेट की शराइत है,
जी जी,
मेरे डिबेट की ये शराइत है कि अगर किसी को मुझसे डिबेट करना है पब्लिक में तो कम से कम वो 5% जैसा मैं मजमा इकट्ठा करता हूँ। मेरे सबसे बड़ा मजमा है 10 लाख हिंदुस्तान में। कितना? 10 लाख। तो
Now, what Zakir Naik is saying, look, if anyone wants to debate with me, I have a condition. That condition must be met. What is that condition? The person who wants to debate with me must be able to gather together at least 5% of the total number of people that attend my sessions when I give a religious talk in Pakistan. According to his claim, his speeches are attended by 10,000 people at a time. I'm not particularly convinced this is true. However, that's not the point. He says, can you bring together 5% of that, which is 50,000 people? The moment Pastor John says, I can bring together 20,000 people, from John's point of view, bringing together 20,000 Christians in Pakistan is an uphill, stupendous task. Christians are a very tiny minority in Pakistan. What Zakir Naik does not pay any attention to is that, proportionately speaking, bringing together 20,000 Christians in Pakistan is a greater achievement than 10 lakhs coming and listening to his speech, if they do so. I am not convinced that it is the case. So proportionally speaking, it is a greater achievement to bring together 20,000 Christians to listen to a debate. First of all, Christians are not interested in this kind of debate. They are only interested in pietistic stuff. They are interested in what padris, bishops and clergymen are saying. They are interested in what prophets and men of God, faith healers are saying and doing. People who are really interested in an intellectual debate are very few and far between the Christian community. Now, in India, for example, there are 30 lakh Christians. Suppose you announce a debate between Christians and Muslims. How many people do you think will attend? Do you think this claim that Pastor John makes, that 20,000 people will come and attend such a session, is feasible in India, where the total number of Christians would outnumber Christians in Pakistan by 10 to 1? It's impossible. And Zakir Naik's idea that 1 million, that is 10 lakh people will come and attend a apologetic session, a session in which Christians and Muslims debate at a time, has to be one of the most juiciest lies I can imagine. Anyway, let's continue to listen. So, according to Pastor Naik, unless according to Dr. Naik, Zakir Naik, unless Pastor John is able to bring at least 50,000 people together at a time, he will not debate with it, because it's below his dignity to debate such an insignificant person who cannot bring together even 50,000 persons to listen to a debate.
कम से कम 5%, 50,000 का मजमा तैयार करो।
Oh,
आपने
अच्छा, 50,000.
सुनिए सुनिए मेरी बात।
Can you gather 50,000 people? Then have it.
बात करो, बीच में दखल मत दीजिए।
जी जी आप बात करें
30,000 आपके लिए 30,000 चलो मान गए।
I give you a concession. You bring 30,000.
30,000 का 30,000 भी मान लिया। सबसे पहला मेरा 10,000 था, फिर 20,000 हुआ। जब से बढ़ते जाता है, मेरी तादाद बढ़ते जाते तो आम भी बढ़ते जाते। सबसे पहले मैं कहता था 10,000 करो, क्योंकि मजमा मेरा छोटा था। जब मजमा बढ़ते जाता है और पॉपुलैरिटी बढ़ते जाती है, तो मेरा मिनिमम क्राइटेरिया भी बढ़ते जाता है। मैंने पहले जब बहस किया,
He is saying that even as my popularity increases, my demand for the size of the audience will also naturally increase. He says there was a time when I would have accepted 3,000. Then it went up to 5,000. Then it went up to 10,000. Now the minimum I expect is 50,000. Can you gather 50,000 Christians in Pakistan? I'm ready to debate with you. By the way, Dr. Zakir Hussain is not alone in this. There used to be, I don't know if there are still are, a very popular preacher. He popular also because he combined preaching with miracle healing, who, when people went to invite him, would say that I will come only if you can guarantee a minimum attendance of 5,000. 5,000. Anything less than that is an insult to me. So the organizers had to sort of reassure him that there will be a gathering if not less than 5,000. Only then he would accept the invitation. So Dr. Zakir Hussain is not alone in this religious vanity. Christians are not second to Zakir Hussain in this. Particularly if somebody thinks that he is very popular and there are people who are keen to listen to them, then they'll also jack up their price.
तो जो लोग सिर्फ 5,000 इकट्ठा करते उनके साथ भी मैंने डिबेट किया। वो पहले था ईयर 2000 में, 1998 में आप बोलते 30,000 मान के। आप मुझे ये बोलिए कौन सा आपका डिबेटर 30,000 लोग को अपने वाहिद लेक्चर के लिए जमा कर सकता है? नाम क्या उसका? और फोटो दो मुझे। कौन सा?
He is saying, can you name a single Christian preacher who on his own strength can gather together 30,000 Christians to come and listen to him? Whereas I can guarantee 1 million people. Now, 1 million people will come and listen to Dr. Zakir Naik. What about you people? This is how a person's religious merit is showcased. And this is considered to be a brilliant example of humility, courtesy, spiritual, sensitivity on the part of one of the greatest exponents of Islam, considered to be one of the greatest exponents of Islam. I had the good fortune to work very closely with Maulana Waiduddin Khan for nearly 10 years. And I consider that a wonderful experience on my part. And I tell you that Zakir Naik, though he is 100 times more popular, a greater crowd puller than Maulana Waiduddin Khan, Zakir Naik cannot carry Maulana Waiduddin Khan's chapels. And look at the arrogance of the man.
आपका डिबेटर है। मैं जानता हूं दुनिया में सैकड़ों क्रिश्चियन हैं जो लाख से ज्यादा इकट्ठा कर सकते हैं। बेनी हिन, मॉरिस फिरेलो, जिमी स्वैगट, ये सब नाम है। आपका कौन सा आदमी है जो 30,000 इकट्ठा कर सकता है? नाम क्या उसका? सबूत पेश करो।
हम यहाँ पर जो है क्रिश्चियन डिबेट एकेडमी की तरफ से मैं कह रहा हूँ कि हमारी जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है वो 20,000 लोगों का इंतजाम
अरे
करेगी
भाई
अगर आप
साहब,
डिबेट
भाई
करना चाहते हैं,
साहब,
क्योंकि आपने
आपके कोई मुकर्रिर ने जो डिबेट
जी, जी,
करना चाहता है,
पादरी शेख कमल और मैं पादरी सैमसन जॉन जो है
वो पादरी शमसन सोन जिंदगी में कभी भी 30,000 लोग
Anyway, I think that should be enough. You can please look up the video in the YouTube. Dr. Zakir Naik is, with every sentence he utters, insulting this puny, scrawny pastor, Pastor Samson John, and the tone in which he speaks. Now, I won't blame Dr. Zakir Naik, because if there is someone who is willing to be trampled upon and who cannot understand that he is being treated like that, then he deserves to be treated in this manner. But the point I want to make is something different from all this. The idea that seems to animate Pastor Samson John is a rather stupid idea. No religion can be defended, and no religion needs to be defended. A religion is not to be defended at all. A religion is to be lived. And anything which involves life also involves vulnerability. The moment the defensive mindset is brought into it, that religion gets destroyed from within. If you try to be defensive about anything, for suppose you are undertaking a debate with anyone, you are defensive about your argument, then you will spoil your argument. You must fully believe in your argument, and the only way to fully believe in the argument is to base your argument on your personal experience. Have you noticed the difference in the speeches between two categories of people, university professors and activists? Who do you think make better speakers, more forceful, powerful speakers? Professors or activists? Professors cannot be a patch on activists when it comes to communicating ideas very clearly and convincingly. Why? Because they live the ideas they talk about. Professors have only some kind of a distant literary or literature relationship to ideas. They have no lived experience. They don't experience what they're talking about. So likewise, no one who simply because he thinks he belongs to Christian Debate Academy can defend Christianity. At any rate, Christianity does not need to be defended at all. No truth needs to be defended. Truth only has to be lived. And in my opinion, it is good that truth is attacked. It is good that truth is belabored. It is good that truth is crucified, because only when truth is maligned, vilified, attacked, crucified, does the real merit of truths come out in shining colors. The only way the metal of truth can be established is through persecution. That's why Jesus says, "Blessed are you when men revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil falsely against you for my sake." My sake means for the sake of truth, because Jesus said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life." So, for the sake of truth, when you are maligned, when you are persecuted, when you are attacked, physically tortured, blessed are you. That state of blessedness. Now, this is something that people like Samson David, who think that simply because they belong to a Christian Debate Academy, they can do some great good to Christianity by entering into an argument with Dr. Zakir Naik. By defeating him in argument, they do some great service to Christianity. Rather, this is the greatest folly you can think of. A religion that needs to be defended is not worth living at all. It has to be discarded altogether. The truth of a religion is not established through verbal arguments. It is established only through the admirable fruits that the practice of that religion produces in the life of those who practice that religion. That's why Jesus said a tree is known and must be known only by the fruits that it produces. Jesus didn't say that a tree must be produced by the quality of the sound its leaves produce when they rustle in the air. If he had said that, then the Christian apologists would have had some justification. I have known many Christian apologetics experts in my times. I have to say this very sadly. I have not found even one of them genuine, competent, having some basic idea about what they're talking about. They're utterly misconceived about the nature of Christianity, about the way of Jesus Christ. Now, people like the Pastor Samson John and Dr. Zakir Naik, they think that the dialogue or debate between religions is like a boxing match or some kind of an armed combat. Who defeats whom? If Dr. Zakir Naik, representing Islam, exposes Pastor Pastor Samson John, then Islam has triumphed over Christianity. Do you really think this is possible? Suppose Pastor Samson John defeats Dr. Zakir Naik in this debate. Do you think Christianity has triumphed over Islam? Does Christianity or Islam need any such spurious triumphs? First of all, what is the meaning and purpose of debate? Unfortunately, neither Pastor Samson John nor Dr. Zakir knows the meaning of debate. What does it mean to debate? What's the purpose of debate? Because in modern times, debate is imagined in the form of an armed combat, particularly if you derive your idea of debate from these television channel discussions, which is the most rotten exhibition of debate. It's anything but debate. If you want to understand the real meaning of debate, you have to go to the classical context, go to the Athenian Greek context, where in Greek culture a great deal of value is attached to debating. But the purpose of debate was very clearly understood by them. And that purpose was clear, unambiguous. People debated not to defeat one another. They debated in order to arrive at a clearer and more comprehensive understanding of the truth. I say it again. The genuine purpose of debate, as understood by the Greek philosophers who attached great importance, great value to debating, was not to defeat one another or to have victory over the other, but to arrive at a clearer and more comprehensive understanding of the truth. Now, in this case, neither Samson nor Zakir is interested in the truth. They're only interested in defeating each other. Samson thinks he has enough bullets to shoot Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik is very confident that nobody come anywhere near him because when he speaks, 1 million people listen to him. Let's ask a simple question. What has the size of a gathering to do with the truth of an argument? Do you think you can determine the truth or the usefulness of an argument, the soundness of an argument, depending on the number of people who support it? Is truth a matter of numbers? Is that how truth is to be established? In which case, we should change our legal system completely. If there is a case to be settled, instead of having just two lawyers argue, both sides should bring the largest crowds that they can, count the number of heads. If the defendant has larger number of people supporting him, then he wins the case. If the one who accuses, the plaintiff, has larger number, then he carries the day. Is that how truth is established? No, I just can't understand how this kind of offensive stupidity can be showcased as having some kind of religious merit. My dear friends, all that I want to say is this. A clear sign of religious decay is that the prestige or attention or emphasis shifts from living the truth of a religious tradition to showcasing its merit and establishing its hegemony over others. I know the extent to which Christianity got corrupted because of this imperialistic spirit that invaded it. And unfortunately, the same thing is now spreading everywhere, including, unfortunately, Hinduism, the Hindu self-assertion, Hindu domination, as though that's going to do any spiritual good to this religious tradition. What happens in the process really is that Hinduism as a living faith gets more and more alienated from its spiritual core. So I have to say it again, that people like Pastor Samson John, people like Dr. Zakir Naik, they are not true representatives of any religious tradition. They are a modern cultural phenomenon, completely mistaken in their idea of religion and religiosity, and who think absolutely erroneously that they do their respective religion some kind of service by defeating those who seem to be in the opposite camp, whereas anyone with any spiritual sensitivity will immediately understand that this idea of dividing people into for and against, those who are not with me are my enemies, is a completely unspiritual, unacceptable idea. The higher reaches of spirituality will reveal the truth that you and I are not even different to each other, leave alone being enemies. We all belong together in the same family. We are part of the same universal, eternal flow of life, the vital life principle, which expresses itself in manifold forms. And it's for a brief while, it is pleased to express itself through me, through you, but ultimately we are part of the same expression. And unless and until we realize this essential cosmic oneness of being alive, all our religious assumptions, ideas, advocacies will take us farther and farther away from our own sanity. This kind of eagerness to fight and defeat each other is a form of religious insanity. It is a gross misrepresentation of the true spirit of Islam, Christianity, and any religion for that matter. So I hope and pray that people like Samson John, I don't know about Zakir Naik, will acquire a little more common sense and realize that they're completely misguided in their zeal to do some kind of good to Christianity. And the only thing they will do is to subject themselves to indignity like this, utter insult from start to finish. Every word that Zakir Naik has uttered to Pastor Samson John is an insult, downright insult. And you will see, if you watch the video, you will see Samson John progressively relapsing into utter helplessness, total bewilderment. He does not know what has hit him. And I blame only Pastor Samson John for putting himself in that kind of wrong situation. So, this is the last thing we should approve of as religious. This kind of exercise, this kind of showcasing of boorish vanity has nothing to do with the true religious core of any religious tradition, which is completely different from all of us. Let's stick to the human side of religion and not to the martial, aggressive, malignant aspects of religion. In the final analysis, there are no victors. There are only fellow travelers along the pilgrim path of humanity, where truth, love, compassion, a sense of fellow humanity, these things help. And not any amount of arguments, no matter how confidently and how scholarly and with what vehemence, rhetorical vehemence, these arguments are marshaled and articulated. Let's renounce, abjure all this nonsense. Let's claim the freedom to be brothers and sisters, irrespective of the different religious labels we carry. These labels mean nothing, absolutely nothing. We should not commit the foolishness of equating a human being with a label. And that's what these religious segregations do. We must ultimately be free to be human, and if we are human, we belong together in the same family. Jai Hind.